Karen Cecilia here. Long time no hear from each other. All right. Do remember to give the video a thumbs up. You can give it a thumbs up right away because it's gonna be good and you're going to like it. And do send me a pithy comment. All right, and make it respectfully. Well, do anything you want, but send me a comment. Um, I want to briefly talk to you. It's going to be brief because I'm busy. Um, it, I want to just weigh in a little bit on the Supreme Court decision regarding the judicial review filed by Mr. Holness and the Supreme Court decision on it. I'm not going to go in details about it because you have to listen to Jamaica 411. She's the resistance secretary. She's not on a frolic on her own. Her job is to respond to these things and give it to you in detail and break it down for you. So go and listen. I just want to say something about what the esteemed Justice Althea Jarrett has written in her 53-page summary of this case, and how she came to the conclusion that the entire thing filed by Mr. Holness, well, almost the entire thing, save for exception, maybe about 2 or 3, that she grant him that judicial review. And what a bad light it put our Integrity Commission in. And how it is a bad taste in my mouth that this is what our Integrity Commission, that is supposed to, it was meant to be a commission that upholds the integrity of our public servants, have found themselves in a situation where their integrity is highly questionable. And what they have done on this witch hunt personal agenda to try to bring down the Prime Minister for whatever reason. And everybody who wants to be Prime Minister needs to pay attention to what they did and how they're operating, and know that this is not about Andrew Holness. This is about the position of Prime Minister, and this is about Jamaica. This is primarily about Jamaica and how this makes us look. So Judge Jarrett, Justice Althea, who I can say without a shadow of a doubt is one of those justices that tends to write judgments, or whatever them call this brief that she wrote. It's a judgment that she tends to go overboard. She go outside of what is asked of her, and on first glance you will see that she go talk about a whole heap of other things, but when you go through it a second or third time, you find where she ties in some things and makes it more understandable. So I get it. I get the gist of what she's saying, but you still have to listen to Jamaica 4-1 for she to explain that to you, because I am not going to. In her judgment, in her summary of findings and conclusions, number 85, she said something in the paragraph, in the first paragraph, that really sums up everything that she says. It's written, it's hidden. It is not, you can't say it. You can't see it, but it's there. Yeah, but it's there. But what she said sums up how she feel about this. It does. And it sums up all that she saw in what she said. But judges do that. They hide little words and little statements into what they are saying, and it sums up basically everything. Now, for me, and I'm sure that the lawyers, Mr. Holness's lawyers, will also jump on this and look at it as something to be used. And here's what she said that made me believe that she finds this behavior from the IC a little bit more than she can say. And this is what she said. Apart from talking about Parliament to implement the recommendation of Parliament and the policies and the special report of the judiciary thing, all of that, in all of that, she also said this. She said, and I quote, "I find that it has a practical adverse effect on the PM's rights." Let me repeat that quote for you. I find that it, and the it is all the things that the IC has done that led to Mr. Holness filing for this judicial review. And she sums it up, all of it, and says, I find that it has a practical adverse effect on the PM's rights. She's not going to elaborate more on that. She's going to push that in right there, so. Right there, so she's going to put that in. I find that it has a practical, their behavior, their reports, all the things that Mr. Holness is complaining on in his submission to the court, it has a practical and adverse, we're going to look up those words, practical and adverse effect on the PM's rights. The judge believed that the PM rights were trampled on. The judge believed that the rights of the Prime Minister was not given any consideration by the Integrity Commission when they were going on with this massive public folly, pretending to be men in charge of things that people vote for. Pretending, because they don't vote for them. And the power that they have is borrowed power, is loaned power, is a courtesy power given to them by the 63 parliamentarians elected by 700,000 plus Jamaicans, 400 plus of which voted for Mr. Holness's party, which then led to him being Prime Minister. And this is what the judge said. She's calling them out for trampling on the Prime Minister's rights in all the things. The Integrity Commission have been behaving as if them have some power, and I keep saying it, and I want the Parliament, PMP and JLP MP to understand that this is not about Mr. Holness. This is about the whole of I will have to stick together on this, else the Integrity Commission is going to feel like them have some one-up power that UNO give them. The power that we give UNO, and UNO gave it to them. UNO lend them some, actually. UNO just give them a little bit as out of courtesy and say, all right, we are going to look at power here to police us, to ensure that we behave, to ensure that every public servant that serves the public, behave in a decent and proper way. And then UNO take it to mean that the people of Jamaica voted for UNO. Nobody no vote for UNO. Nobody vote for any of UNO. So the judge is saying that's not trample on the rights of the Prime Minister. The same right he has. And Jamaicans would be, most Jamaicans would tell you, yes, he have rights to like everybody else, but you have some Jamaicans, because we're not a reading population, right? And some will tell you that he don't have no rights. How him have rights? But the Prime Minister, he make the rule, he make the law. And that people say those things because we don't read. Well, let me not put myself in that. Who no read. You prefer to hear something on the radio and run with that, see something on social media and run with that. And they have trampled. It has a practical and adverse effect on the Prime Minister's rights. I can imagine that maybe one and two of our international partners, Mr. Holness, who may have a close friendship with, and probably say to them, have to explain some things to them or defend himself with them. I imagine that, friend and leader to leader. But I also know that most countries that we have relationship with would read this foolishness and know it's a witch hunt. And them not paying it any attention. And I don't believe it has damaged his reputation as Prime Minister. But that aside, what about the reputation of Jamaica, the country? What about the people who the other places say, why Jamaica corrupt, even Jamaicans living abroad? Jamaica corrupt, a corrupt politician, we have world my teeth. And then the IC put out some report that suggests to the country that the Prime Minister is a crook. And when they put it out, they had nothing to back it up. No proof, no evidence, nothing. They just put it out because this is how them feel. Mr. Beresford and Mr. Stevenson. Boy, we feel, say, the bank book that your parents have, and you put our money in there, we feel, say, a money laundering. No proof, no. The money not in there, no. You never tell us about the bank book, them. where your parents put you upon for your 2-year-old. So we feel something in it. And we're going to look into it. And in looking into it, them decided that they're going to bring the parents into it. In them full report. And bring the parents them. 2 senior citizens who bring forward, are the parents of our current Prime Minister. And they decided to bring them into them full report. Because them feel something. Or them think something. But them don't know nothing. Them have nothing to prove anything. And the judge is seeing through all of that to grant this judicial review. She believes that in all of that has happened, all of this is judicially reviewable. And those are her words, which she said they are. I want to remind you of something that you all know already, but I just want to refresh your memory. Alvin Bragg is the district attorney for Manhattan, which takes in the Southern District of New York. Letitia James is a district attorney for New York City. And both of them, as district attorneys, have been going after Trump through his businesses and his business practices over the years because he lives and worked in New York. New York has 62 counties. Each county has a district attorney. And both Alvin Bragg and Letitia James work with all of them to put those cases together against Trump. When Alvin Bragg announced the 34 count felony charges against Trump for, I think it was business practices or something to do with his business, right? Don't remember, I tell you. When Alvin Bragg brought those charges about Trump, everybody was saying, boy, Alvin Bragg better be careful, because he must understand that if you're going to charge the former president, if you're going to bring charges against him, if you're going to bring charges against a former president who is a candidate and could be president again, you better have the evidence. As a matter of fact, one pundit went on and said, no, you don't need to have the evidence. You need to have overwhelming evidence, which is asking him to go to a higher threshold than just having evidence. You can't just have source of evidence. Why? Because they feel that if you're going to bring charges against a former president who at the time was a candidate for president, who at the time could be president, that is now president-elect, if you're going to bring those charges, you better have the evidence. I remember it clearly. I remember when all of them was the punditry class, so all of them was there talking about that. Some was saying that this could make or break Alvin Bragg's career. Because if him could break it down to 10, he could bring it down to 5. Why it has to be 34? Because maybe he can't prove the 34. But Alvin Bragg went about in a meticulous way and granted Trump and him lawyers many leeways to ensure that the public, not only Trump supporters, but the public see it as a fair process. All the things that they were doing, everything that Trump's lawyers were successful at delaying and whatever it is that they were granted, and him still a chat to the microphone and said, they gave him that leeway on account of the fact that he's a former president, current candidate at the time, and could be future president, which he is now. They did that. He took that into consideration when he was going forward. So did Letitia James. The only person who was not thinking about that at all is Fannie Willis down in Georgia. She don't care. But Alvin Bragg and Letitia James never to play with him either. But they made sure that them had their ducks line up in several rows, straight, at attention. So I repeat to you, if you're going to go after the Prime Minister of the land, you can't come with conjecture. You can't come with suppositions. You can't come with, this is what we think. You can't come by, we feel this way. You have to come with the facts, hard and fast. You can't come with maybe. No, You have to come with everything. You have to cover every base. You have to dot every dot. And this is what Alvin Bragg did before they went after Trump. And the deal was sealed on the very first day of public testimony. But it wasn't public. The very first day of testimony, Alvin Bragg proved his case, but still went forward with everything else. His first witness was David Pecker, the man that owned the rag, that catch story and kill story for Trump. The newspaper, Trump and David Pecker are friends long time. And when there are negative stories about Trump in mainstream media, David Pecker's job was to go look for the people who said the story, buy the story, and kill the story. That's what they did with Karen McDougal. That's what they did with Stormy Daniels until things got out of hand with the Stormy Daniels matter. Buy the story, kill the story. PR the money, we get the story, tell us how we're going to publish it, and then we never publish it, we have to publish it, because we pay for it. Trump pay off the porn star through his businesses and Michael Cohen, and falsify his business records to cover it. It wasn't a crime. It was a covering of the crime. And that's what happened. It was never ever the crime. It's always about the covering up of the crime. And Alvin Bragg went in there, and after Pecker testified for an entire day and part of the next day, he could have closed him case. But no, he called them one by one to back up what Pecker said and to add to what Pecker said and tie it up with a neatly wrapped bundle tied with a nice little yellow ribbon and present them case to the jury. And the jury say, yeah, we got it. A jury of Trump's peers, people from his ilk, people from his ends, said, yeah, you're guilty on all 34 counts. So when people were losing their minds about whether Alvin Bragg had the evidence, yes or no, Alvin Bragg knew. He knew that he couldn't bring this into the public and carry it forward unless he had the evidence, overwhelmingly elaborate. Whole heap of it, he could have stopped at 2 witnesses or even 3. No. He went on and on and on and piled up on it and make sure that his case was made and wrapped tight, that none of Trump lawyers could poke holes in it. Only Michael Cohen them could knock off a little bit. But that didn't matter by that time. So you have to have your evidence line up. But what happened? The IC went after the Prime Minister of the country without any consideration about how the people might react and any consideration of how the international community might view us, and without any consideration for the Prime Minister's rights. Holding on to the man's statutory declarations from 2021, refused to certify it. Talking about 28 bank books, they knew what the optics and the talking points would be from the Jamaican public, but it backfired. I'm going to tell you it backfired, but they knew when the Jamaican public hear about 28 bank book, they were going to go bananas. They knew what headlines were going to be when them said them not when certify the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, because them think him is a crook. Not because them have any proof that he's a crook. They never present that argument. Them just think so. Because of this we think so. Because of that we think so. Because him named upon him mother and him father bank book, and him never tell we, because him never remember same name that from him a 2-year-old. What the hell? What the hell? I want to do all of that, the IC, and send that out into the public for the public to spin that around and them washing machine and then pressure cooker and bill on it and send it out into the world for our international partners to say the Jamaican Prime Minister is a crook, and never presented any evidence on it. It backfired on them. It backfired on them because them forget. They forget that this is 2024. This is 2024. Nobody now take a chat from nobody. Everybody have them own chat. Everybody have their own mind to make up about stuff. And they never thought they would get the pushback that they did. Because for all the years that men like Justice Panton and the man, the Beresford, in the same one lock up Portia and the entire cabinet for some document that they never give him propose and send it into the news media that him proposing that the director of the investigation, director of prosecution, arrest them and lock them up. Because he thinks that somebody did vote for him and give him some kind of power that he want to lock up our prime minister that hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans voted for, and he had no evidence to present to the country about it, but him send it out into the world. This is not about Mr. Holness. This is about the position of prime minister and Jamaica. Mark Golding, Peter Bunting, Julian Robinson, all of those who want to be prime minister. This is not really on Julius. This is about to take note. All 63 only need to take note. Because if you're not at one on this and put a spokes in these people's wheels and make them understand that the power that's going to lend to them is a courtesy power to make the country comfortable, that there are a group of people appointed by the parliament who will give them some of the power that we gave you. For them to hold you all accountable. And they have to do it above board. They have to do it with fairness. They have to do it with openness. They have to be clear-eyed. They have to be impartial. They cannot be bought. And can't be ignorant like and arrogant like bulldog like Mr. Christie. Them can't be going into parliament or do up a shoulder move like Justice Panton and shrug him shoulders and disrespect and a gaslight the members of parliament. Them can't do that. Their job, given to them by you, the 63 members of parliament, is to hold the public service accountable on our behalf, on the 700,000 plus Jamaicans that voted for the 63 of you. On our behalf, to hold them accountable, not just parliamentarians, public servants in general, to hold them accountable. You don't do this. Justice Jarrett said, I find that it has a practical and adverse effect on the Prime Minister's rights. I tell you now. So peer look up, listen. On the FAFO. On the F around, I'm going to find it out. That's how this thing work. So Mr. Prime Minister got a victory going forward. And the parliamentarians who wants to be prime minister need to pay attention. And once again, I tell you, you need to be at one with this. Else the IC is going to be in public disrepute forever. As long as I breathe. As long as the bloggers and YouTube breathe. As long as all of us are out here, we're going to in serious trouble with IC. And when you name the new IC, it must be clear, so some things need to change. You don't go out there, you're going to disgrace our country and put our country on the map for the wrong reason. Give us all this bad publicity to suggest that our Prime Minister is a crook without a shred of evidence. You did that. And then now you're in court. The Jamaican people need to understand now that when the Prime Minister who them try to bring down, carry them to court, and the court now rule that them wrong and them trample on the Prime Minister's right, what the hell are we talking about Integrity Commission now? Done. What kind of Integrity Commission could be? Still in there war try find out how leak the information. Still in there try getting a footing after that. To all out still in there point fingers at no one another and vex with no one another. And I wonder what we're gonna come with next. We know what's going on in there. We know only in there putting the house in order because we still want to own higher and our money. Which are the family members in their work. All kind of things is going to come tumbling down now because we don't have the integrity. Only incompetent. So they only have it. 1 for the Prime Minister. 0 for the Integrity Commission. Thank you all for listening to my rant. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is it for 2024. So, have a very Merry Christmas, you all. Remember the meaning of Christmas and why Christmas came about. Christmas came about because God thought it'd be a good idea to send us the Savior at the time that he did. And the heathens are out as we speak, hunting down Mary and Joseph, trying to see if they can kill Jesus before him born. And once again, they will fail. Remember that. Jesus was born so that we are here. That's the reason that he was born, so that we are here. And the lesson in all of that and the reason in all of that is this. Remember why. Just remember why. For God so loved the world. For God so loved the world that he gave us his only begotten Son. That's the reason. Love, care, acceptance, brotherhood, comradeship. For God so loved the world. And Jesus came for that. So while we celebrate and while we eat and drink, let us do so safely. But let us do so also in consideration of those who are less fortunate. Those who still don't have a roof over their head. Let us remember the children, some of whom are still on the streets. Let us remember single mothers. Let us remember not just your neighbors and your friends and the people in front of you, but remember the people you pass on the street. Leave something with them. I always believe that nobody in Jamaica is hungry on Christmas Day. I still do believe that. But we all have to do our part to ensure that that belief is true. So, let's ensure that somebody eat. If every one of us that listen to this ensure that one person eat, we all would be doing what God intended us to do when he gave us his only begotten Son. And let us do that with joy in our hearts. Let's do that with fresh eyes and fresh ears and fresh thoughts. Christmas Day is the only day in the world, well, certainly in Jamaica, where people, when they wish you when they say Merry Christmas or wish you well on Christmas Day, they actually mean it. They don't realize it at the time most, but they mean it when they say it. So, remember the children. Remember the less fortunate. Remember the elderly. And let us remember that God so loved the world that he gave us his only begotten Son. All right? God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody. Please stay extra safe throughout the Christmas season. And do throughout this Christmas season, keep our children safe. Mothers, keep your children close to you. God bless you.